Next on Good Morning El Paso, breaking overnight. One person is in critical condition after a rollover. How it will affect your morning commute. We have your round-the-clock coverage. The first of many changes now taking shape for the El Paso School District. We'll tell you what could be in store for Mesita and Violet's elementaries. Also,
expressed that he was in pain, which was no surprise. He had a significant head wound.
defying death, this time in real life. The latest on actor Harrison Ford's plane crash.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Good morning, I'm Stephanie Valle. Hillary Florin is off this Friday. It is 6 o'clock and we begin this morning with two separate crashes at car dealerships in East El Paso. Around the clock coverage begins right now. These crashes happened at Mission Chevrolet and Viva Nissan around 1 this morning. That's near the intersection of North Zaragoza and George Dieter. One of those crashes sent a person to the hospital in critical condition. Good morning, El Paso's Luke Liddon is on the scene with the latest. Luke.
Stephanie, definitely a very bizarre situation here as two car crashes happened at two different car dealerships early this morning in East El Paso. But the most serious one was at the Viva Nissan dealership right on Zaragoza Road. This is at the George Dieter and Zaragoza intersection. And as you can tell, Zaragoza is still currently closed off with crews at the scene, and it looks like it'll be that way for quite some time. If you look closely, you'll see an SUV rolled over on the side of the road that was involved in a head-on collision at around 2 this morning. That collision damaged at least 2 to 3 cars on the dealership lot. We've also learned the person in the SUV was taken to Del Sol and is currently in critical condition. And according to emergency radio traffic, that person was ejected during the crash. And across the street, you'll see the cab that was the other car involved in this collision. You can't tell, but the front of the car is severely damaged and smashed in. And now just a few hours before this crash, another crash happened at Mission Chevrolet just right down the street about a block away. In that crash, one car hit a light pole, causing it to fall on top of a brand new Camaro. We still don't know the factors of either of these crashes, but we'll update you as soon as possible. I just tried to speak with the El Paso Police Department spokesman. He did not answer his phone, but I am continuing to try to call him to get more details on what might have caused both of these crashes. But Zaragoza is currently closed off, and there still is no timetable on when it will reopen. So if you are headed in this direction later today, you will definitely want to plan ahead to avoid the traffic congestion in this area. Reported live in East El Paso, Luke Liddon, ABC7.
All right, Luke, thank you for those details. It was a cold night, but what can you expect for your Friday morning? Let's go to Crystal Clive for a look at Storm Track weather forecast. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, yeah, it's still cold, unfortunately, but there's good news ahead of us, and that is that later today, we're going to see much more warming than we did yesterday. Temperatures we're sitting at 27 now in El Paso and 26 Las Cruces. Yes, El Paso's temperature has dropped a little more since the last hour. 25 in Ruidoso, 28 Deming, and 21 Silver City. Now, these are actual temperatures. Wind chills are even a little cooler thanks to low winds outside. On your clouds and radar map, we have clear sky conditions starting off your morning, and that's going to last right through the rest of today. Another blue sky forecast. As we move into your weekend, the blue skies persist, the temperatures rise. We'll look at how high they go coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, Crystal, thank you. Mesita and Violet's elementary school parents, listen up. Some major changes could be happening at those schools. If approved by the El Paso School District Board on March 18th, Violet's will become part of Mesita Elementary School's expansion, which will focus on early childhood education. The proposal is being called One School, Two Campuses. Parents we spoke with at last night's meeting say they support the idea. EPISD's spokeswoman says the Early Childhood Center would be a partnership with UTEP. It would focus on kindergarten and first grade students, offering dual language programs and more. If EPISD's Board of Managers approves this proposal, the changes would go into effect as early as next school year. And here's a look at the distance between Violet and Mesita Elementary. 2 miles, about a 6-minute drive. All the logistics such as busing students and the like will be fully explained to parents if this passes. Again, the Violet campus would be pre-kinder through 1st. Mesita would be 2nd through 5th.
No park zone! No park zone! No park zone! No park zone!
We now know how many students walked out in Las Cruces in protest of the new park exam. Parents had the choice to opt their student out of taking the test, but sophomores and juniors need to pass it to graduate. In all, 1,020 LCPS students walked out of class. More than half were from middle school at 600. 420 were high school students. District-wide, 17,000 3rd through 11th graders are eligible to take the PARCC exam. Those who missed it have until March 20th to make it up. Authorities say a woman tried to use children as a way of avoiding suspicion of drug smuggling. It happened Wednesday night at the Bridge of the Americas. The 27-year-old woman from Juarez was arrested after 7.5 pounds of cocaine were found in the backseat of her vehicle. 2 children were also in the backseat. The woman was turned over to federal authorities while the kids were turned over to relatives. A man wanted for murdering another man in Fort Worth was arrested in Las Cruces. 54-year-old Donald Ferkorian is being held without bond until he is sent back to Texas. Las Cruces police were alerted to that nationwide manhunt earlier in the week, and officers happened to spot his car on Lowman Avenue Wednesday. Ferkorian allegedly led the officers on a brief chase, but was later taken into custody. Convicted murderer Jody Arias escapes the death penalty a second time. A jury was deadlocked 11-1 in favor of death. But because the jury can't decide, the death penalty was removed as an option. The judge will now decide whether Arias serves life in prison or gets the possibility of release after 25 years. Arias was convicted of first-degree murder for killing her boyfriend Travis Alexander back in 2008. And testimony resumed to the trial of the Boston Marathon bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. The father of an 8-year-old boy killed during the blast testified, saying he tried to shield his children from the carnage. He told jurors that he knew his son wouldn't make it. One victim who lost her leg also testified. She later posted a letter on Facebook to Tsarnaev that's gone viral, in which she wrote, "You are a coward." Tsarnaev showed no emotion during testimony. It was a terrifying flight for Harrison Ford. The film star crash-landed his plane on a golf course in Santa Monica, California. ABC John Ehrlichman has the latest from Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center.
Harrison Ford was strapped to a gurney, breathing unconscious. First responders wheeled him from the wreckage of his plane. Moments before his crash, this was his Mayday message.
53178, engine failure, immediate return.
Authorities say the 72-year-old film star lost engine power and was attempting a return to Santa Monica Airport, but the plane couldn't make it.
That he clipped the top of a tree and came to rest on the golf course.
An eyewitness described the scene.
He was able to speak. He expressed that he was in pain, which was no surprise. He had a significant head wound.
The plane Ford was piloting was built in the 1940s. He once told Barbara Walters about his love of flying.
I love the freedom of flight. I love the places you go. I love the people in aviation, the people that I meet in aviation. I love seeing the world from an airplane. I'm in love with flying.
And as Ford recovers at this hospital, investigators still looking into the cause of the crash. His spokesman, meanwhile, saying he's expected to make a full recovery. John Ehrlichman, ABC News, Los Angeles.
The Andrews High School boys basketball team is on fire. They're playing the state playoff Sweet 16 today. ABC 7 is sending a crew to Snyder, Texas for the game. We'll have reports all day as we follow the team. Nearly 10,000 people saw the Eagles give Bel Air its only loss of the season this week at the Don Haskins Center. That final score 58-44. Now ABC 7 is partnering with the EPISD school district to give you a chance to watch the Andrews game live. We'll provide an educational opportunity for several Andrews students to do a single camera webcast of the game, and if the Eagles win, Saturday's game as well. You can find that live stream of Andrews and Dunbar at EPISD.org. The game tips off at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Again, that website, EPISD.org. And at 6:09, time to take a look at traffic with the help of our TxDOT traffic cameras, looking over on the far east side at I-10 and Americas, where things are moving along pretty quietly at this time. Just make sure you keep in mind that traffic is going to be detoured around George Zeder and Zaragoza, where police are investigating 2 separate crashes. Our Luke Liddon will have more details coming up during this newscast. But in the meantime, first, it was safety concerns. Now, a whistleblower says there are structural issues with the new William Beaumont Army Medical Center. And traffic is finally open after snow shuts down highways in Kentucky. Drivers were stranded for 16 hours, back up as long as 20 miles. And no snow here as we're looking at a warm-up this weekend. Crystal Cly has your forecast.
No snow, but you are right about the warm-up. So how high will we go through your weekend and even into your next week? The details are up right after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. It is 6:10 and this is ABC 7, where news comes first.